What's up, troopers? This is CT7567 here, and today, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is popular again, and we're dropping bombs in the Middle East? Welcome back, 2005.
Been a long time, comrade.
I think it's safe to say, this really is a trip, man. Something's wrong in the space-time continuum, because
the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Battlefront 2 EA is a game that needs no introduction. We are all aware of the incredible controversy that plagued this title when it came out. It's something I've covered extensively on this channel. I even have an entire playlist dedicated to the Battlefront 2 saga, which is probably going to be interesting to check out after this video, if at the very least to see how the vibe of the game has changed over time. Going from, are microtransactions gonna ruin Battlefront, to, yes they are, and then, wow, this fucking sucks, to then, I guess this isn't so bad anymore, and finally, here we are, today. Oh! Thank you, Darth Maul! Oh, thank you, sweet Jesus. We have arrived at the final destination, the last stop. I don't know what the opposite of rock bottom is, but that's where we are. At last, we have come to the end of the redemption arc. What? Red Dead 2 review? I'm still working on it, okay? Leave me alone.
Leave me alone!
X-Men. RDR2 review. Ladies and gentlemen, it is safe to say that Battlefront 2 has finally been redeemed. There is some good left in you, I know it.
There's good in him.
And many of you might be thinking, well, the game hasn't been updated in over 5 years, Act-Man. What kind of ketamine have you been huffing? Where have you been? What do you mean, finally been redeemed? Well, Battlefront 2 recently broke its record for most concurrent players on Steam, with over 18,000, surpassing the previous score set at about 12,000 back in 2021. And those are some pretty good numbers if you ask me. Honestly, I think—
You've got mail.
No, that can't be right. Hold on, I gotta make a call. I need a player count. The reading is off the charts. Over 35,000. Even Diablo 4 doesn't have a player count that high. The fans have deployed a garrison bonus. Star Wars Battlefront 2 recently broke its concurrent player record that was set a month ago at 18,000, and it has jumped to spot number 14 on Xbox's most played games. Please forgive me for the joke I'm about to make, but somehow Battlefront 2 returned. Now, outside of your typical like Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Helldivers 2, any game that has a 2 on it and has a dedicated community, you can always expect a pretty significant player base to be supporting it even to this day. Like, if you look at Left 4 Dead 2, the absolute fucking legend himself, Left 4 Dead 2's 24-hour peak is 34,000. That shit came out in 2009. Only games that have achieved godhood status can really pull things together and keep a consistent player base, especially Battlefront 2, because this, at least for me, this is a game I played on console. I think most people played this on console because it is a game that does appeal to a more casual audience. Regardless of all of that, for a game that hasn't seen a major update in over 5 years, these are incredible numbers. Hypothetically speaking, if I were a high IQ analytics guy, you know, maybe someone who worked at a place where they make art that some would call electronic, you know, I might look at these numbers and say, hey guys, I think there's something here. Maybe we could make like a lot of money off of this. Star Wars? Does anybody know what Star Wars is? When I left you, I was but the shitty game. Now I am the masterpiece. Why it tastes so good, I think I'll revisit it a second time. That's right, today we are revisiting Star Wars Battlefront 2.
You're welcome to surrender at any time.
Oh yeah. Whoa! No, he got me with the fucking wrist rocket. I have been having a blast with this game. I recently jumped in, even though I've been playing it solo like a huge loser. Loser! You're a loser! Like, I can only imagine how much fun I'd be having it if I had the balls to have a social life and play it with real people and friends, I know, but...
X-Men, you don't have any friends.
Yeah, tell me something I don't know. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to look at the fact that the peak concurrent player count on Steam was just broken twice. Once might be a coincidence, but twice?
But as one trained in the Force, you know that true coincidences are rare.
I mean, you have May the 4th, obviously, as like the official Star Wars holiday, and that's gonna drive numbers, but like how did it break it again? I think that's so cool that there's been like this grassroots movement of hardcore Star Wars Battlefront fans. Like, dog, can we get another? Like, I have money. Money? Take my money. Take it, please. Battlefront, I have money. What am I gonna do with all of this money? Battlefront 2 was only $4 on sale. I have all this money. I have all this money and nothing to spend it on. Now I have to pick up my money like the true degenerate I am. This is what strippers feel like, huh? When I have to pick up all their... I've always been a really big fan of this phrase. I think it speaks to the heart, right? Vote with your wallet. Sometimes us gamers, we don't always cast the right vote. But look at what people are doing with Stop Killing Games initiative. Figure I'm making another video, might as well bring it up again. Sign the EU petition, sign the UK petition. Side note, I recently learned that the UK is not part of the European Union. What the fuck is going on, redcoats, man? What happened to the British Empire?
I just woke up in a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shit.
Tangent aside, go support Stop Killing Games UK and EU initiatives, linked in the description and pinned comment. Keep the momentum going forward, brothers. We don't leave our troopers behind. But I love that phrase, vote with your wallet, because it is a vote. Buying a game is a vote of confidence. Playing it is a vote of confidence. Appearing on Steam charts, breaking a record. All of this grassroots hype for Battlefront 2, 8 years after the game came out, it signals to me that the world deserves a Battlefront 3. There is demand for it. I mean, Battlefront has always been a series that was like, okay, Battlefield is cool, but what if it was Star Wars? And that's it. That's it. That's the whole fucking sales pitch. You don't need to elaborate further. You have my money. You have $70 from me. Just do that again, and don't do Battlefront 2015. That's why that fucker ain't up here on the Hall of Fame, because that piece of shit didn't have a lick of content. I might do a separate video on what a Battlefront 3 could look like. I think there's a lot of really cool ideas. I'll tease one thing for you guys, all right? Battlefront 3, new map, Umbara. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. But why is this a redemption arc? Well, for one, EA recently put the celebration of Battlefront 2 on sale on Steam for $4. What does the celebration edition include? Every cosmetic, every skin, every emote, every optional thing you can think of outside of a handful. Holy shit, dude, they did so many fucking clone skins. Oh my god. And it's ironic because Battlefront 2 was plagued at release because of EA's insatiable greed to turn this massive FPS title into, as one politician put it, a Star Wars themed online casino. The greed was unreal. And it is fascinating to go back onto Reddit and look at that most downvoted comment of all time and just like read through the replies and see how, I don't want to say toxic, but like justifiably angry people were, bro. This was Battlefront 2 and we had to play for 40 hours to get Vader. It's like you can relive that rage when you go through that comment section and that subreddit. And this is why it is a pure redemption arc. When you hop on a Battlefront 2 and just play it, you can't even tell that there was a loot box controversy. You can't even tell that this game was published by EA. There's nothing to signify that. This game has done the unthinkable. Whatever is below No Man's Sky, that's what Battlefront 2 has achieved. The unthinkable redemption arc. Unlimited power! And honestly, how true to form, how true to this franchise, because I remember at the end of Knights of the Old Republic 2, you can talk to the main villain and she will say, "Why are you doing this?" And you can respond, at the end of all things, you can say this to her, "Because I believe you can be redeemed." The loot boxes don't even exist in the game anymore. They're just a delivery system for weapon unlocks and attachments. Even when you open a loot box, it's like the fucking star card thing is all glitched out. It's like it's fallen into complete disrepair. It's such a perfect metaphor for the state of the game. We don't fucking care about loot boxes anymore. And that's what it's all about, man. That's what this game has turned into. Finally, it's a complete game that you play to have fun. My little green friend. You don't play to unlock enough credits to buy this skin or to buy this hero or complete enough challenges to get enough crystals to buy the Tier 4 star card. Son of a bitch. Yeah, there's another metaphor for you. Third Battlefront game fell down. What else is new? Now you might be thinking, okay, Actman, well, this sounds all good and gravy. You're selling me on Battlefront 2 again. It sounds
Just like the simulation.
But what about the dumb star card system? If I hop back in, am I gonna be mercilessly slaughtered by some fucking dipshit who's got maxed out star cards on Anakin level 200? Yeah, maybe, but it ain't that bad. And honestly, if you want to jump in brand new, play co-op missions, bro. You can unlock some powerful star cards with just like a couple hours. That's the way to level up and then jump into multiplayer. And honestly, I hadn't played the co-op missions a whole lot in the past. They're really fucking fun. They're surprisingly fun. They're super chaotic. You could have like 40 enemies storming a point and you're just there with the turret, just... The co-op missions are pretty fun, and they're good for leveling, though they do get a bit monotonous and boring over time. That's besides the point. Yes, you will run into certified Jedi Masters who absolutely know how to wreck shit as Anakin and Obi-Wan, but you'll also run into people who kind of don't really know what they're doing. And it's like, that's the perfect state for a multiplayer game like Battlefront 2 to be in, where you have those fucking experts that make you think, okay, I want to get those star cards, but you also have the newbies who are like, oh, holy shit, I just killed Anakin. I just killed Grievous, you know? You have people that aren't as good, and the player base is very healthy, which is even crazier to think about because Battlefront 2 isn't cross-play.
What kind of nonsense is this?
When are we getting a Battlefront 3? When are we finding out what happened to Sev? What happened to Sev? Don't ask a woman her weight. Don't ask a man what happened to Sev. Cut it. Cut. Also, I don't know if this is just me, but I noticed when I was playing, I leveled up super fast, even on a brand new account where everything was level 1. So with all that being said, here's the $1 million question. Actually, here's the like $500 million question. Or maybe $800 million question. I don't know how much money a Battlefront 3 could make, but I would at least put it in the ballpark of 800 million. Here's the $800 million question. When will the time be right for Battlefront 3? You know, Battlefront 2 sounds all good, you know, but Actman, I've played this a bunch already. I'm not gonna revisit it forever. You know, once the momentum dies down, what then? When will the time be right for Battlefront 3? Well, soldier, anytime. And just know that your time spent taking the fight to those dirty fucking C words, we try not to offend here on the Actman channel, your fight against those dirty clankas won't go unnoticed. It's true, there's only so many times you can replay a game before you feel like you've seen and done everything all over again, and then what do you do from there? But I bet you somebody important somewhere has taken notice of this Steam charts resurgence, and somebody made a note of what's happening. Vote with your wallet. Money talks. I mean, there's an entire generation of Gen Z kids who don't even get the Watch Those Wrist Rockets reference. Can you believe that? That's like growing up in hell, man. I think one of my favorite comments of all time on all of YouTube was some guy on my Battlefront 2 review was like, me and the buddies during dodgeball in middle school would throw the dodgeball and yell, "For the Chancellor!" And all the dudes laughed and all the girls were confused. Like, you just had to be there, man. You just had to be there. But my question is, haven't we suffered enough as Battlefront fans? Battlefront 3, that was supposed to come out in like 2007, 2009, the original, that shit got canceled. And that was supposed to be like 99% complete. We were robbed. And this fucking abomination, this pirate software looking ass game, this is a prime example of why we need to have abortion, okay? Because this thing should have been aborted. That was soul crushing, man. Haven't we suffered enough? How much money do you want me to give you? I feel like I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but look, the fact of the matter is, it's true that DICE technically redeemed the game back in 2020 with the final update, the Battle of Scarif. And in the eyes of the mainstream audience, I think in the eyes of everybody, it has now fully been redeemed. The whole loot box fiasco, it isn't even something worth talking about. Just to point out how irrelevant it is. It is rare to see the reputation of a game swing so wildly from polar opposites, from the South Pole to the North Pole. It doesn't happen often, but the circle is now complete. Look, it's been a long and tired road from my first Battlefront 2 video to this one. That's 8 years, man. 8 years.
I'm old, Gandalf.
It is nice to have closure, like final closure. Like there's no question that fans love the current state of Battlefront 2 and they want another game. There's no question. All has essentially been forgiven. We can start with a clean slate. It brings me great pleasure to say that Battlefront 2 has finally been redeemed. It's been a real treat revisiting Battlefront 2, and perhaps we'll get a true sequel someday. Perhaps we should look at the momentum and the movement of Stop Killing Games and the patterns of Helldivers 2 players, and well, it's nice to know we can channel that energy when it really matters. So, for all of you troopers in the 501st and for all of you separatist droid scum, who I still respect, just stand by. Maybe we'll see a Battlefront 3. Let's hope. But thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to CT7567 for more clone-based content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Rex Man, signing out. Peace!